Ancient technology that surpassed today's destroyed the world at that time. Real Star Wars 5,000 years ago. History of ancient India hides many mysteries, and it's clear that there was knowledge, that is, according to our modern ideas about antiquity, aliens, extraterrestrials, ancient aliens, ancient astronauts, to the level and needs of the people of that time. Here's just one example. God Brahma, the creator of the universe, the father of all living beings, in a state of deep thought, as the legend says, rests on a bed of lotus petals, and he has the trial of the unit of measurement of time, creating an ongoing universe with 4 yugas, meaning eras. It lasts 3,000 years from the era of heaven, and a celestial year is 3,600 years on earth. So the 4 yugas are 4,320,000 years. The lifespan of Brahma lasted 100 times longer. And this period closely coincides with the age of the Earth, about 4.5 billion years. It can, of course, be attributed to coincidence, but it can also be interpreted as a sign of the forgotten knowledge of the age of our planet. The Vimanas and the real Star Wars 5,000 years ago. What gods Darwin and green horses pose for few? Food for thought, given by Rig Veda. There's a reason to believe that the author's views on the origin of the universe were close to their understanding of the Big Bang, and the Rig Veda was written during the 2nd millennium BC, and according to some researchers, much earlier than that. Aircraft in ancient India, the Vimanas, deserve special attention. In addition to those already mentioned, there are probably the other aircraft, the skyships, the Agnihorta, according to the root of the word Agnihorta, made a flight accompanied by flashes of fire or conflagration. The ancient sources tell us that there were aircrafts for traveling within the Surya Mandala and Nakshatra Mandala. What are these limits? Surya in Sanskrit and modern Hindi means sun mandala, the scope area. Nakshatra, star. Isn't it a reference to flight in the solar system and interstellar distances? The legends of the ancient Hindus, India reflects a deep belief held by many other people of the time that other worlds and spaces are inhabited by intelligent beings, and ask the questions, where did this knowledge come from in a time that is considered the childhood of humanity? The details contained in the Indian epics show actual events. For the example, in the Mahabharata, it's referred to a shell, an explosion of which was as bright as 10,000 suns. Its use is truly dire in its consequences, and leads to the death of all living creatures. An image of nuclear testing reminds this quote about 1,000 suns, meaning it describes an explosion of nuclear bomb. In the Indian epic, a few names and all variants have truly unimaginable destructive power. It can burn this whole world. Copies of the translations from the ancient texts were written in a rare book published in 40 in small editions, and the book is called War in Ancient India by Professor V.R.D. Ikshitaru. It reveals the hypothesis about extraterrestrials. In fact, the cosmic gods in the eyes of the people in ancient times were gods. Was there an ancient advanced civilization whose references have come down to us only in a few manuscripts and forgotten knowledge, is a question. Of the fact that in ancient times, in the Indian Ocean and in the adjacent areas of the earth, there is a continent of Lemuria. It lies partly on the territory of modern South Asia. In support of this hypothesis, some facts of modern science in Antarctica, Africa, and the Indian continent, in the sediments of the same age, there are ruins. 3 distant and separate continents may have been part of the single continent, which later sank. According to the great Russian scientist, mind academician Verdansky, Lemuria appeared on Earth 15 to 20 million years ago, and it's a lost continent of Lemuria today, or Mumu, whose survivors founded the Maya civilization. It's possible that the heavy military vehicles described in the Indian epics were the cause of the Great Flood that changed the face of the planet. According to this hypothesis, nothing is improbable. After all, since everything ties together, on the tops of the mountains there are shells, some parts were once at the bottom of the ocean, and many other proofs. With disasters of this magnitude, it would be naive to look for some tangible proof of the existence of highly developed technology of the past. Information about the old times comes to us only in the memories of people, the legends. Unlike metal aircraft parts, the methods of manufacturing vimanas were not fully understood even by the editors of the ancient texts. These writers, strange to us, sometimes plausible image of the past. Obviously, the ancient chroniclers wrote down the developments, and they would have been distorted and modified by generations of narrators. There is no doubt, however, that all imagination begins with experience, and the ancient writer could not think of anything. For example, to describe the device of the jet engine shows that in ancient times there was technology, the height of which today is in our imagination. They still believe the story about Noah's flood. Needless to say, it is naturally impossible to put all these animals in a boat without them eating each other. And what luck, no one died. Okay, let's be honest, the ship was not what they have in mind today. Other craft and animals were in DNA form, and of course, gods were not gods. Some still have them today. Now, the history of the gods and the real dawn of human history, they're all hiding apart. I'm not an archaeologist, the writer says, so they don't teach me. And what they want, the researcher with a clear mind, and the puzzle is solved. All these degree papers are so brainwashed that you can throw them away. So this I've translated from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.